kind of wanted to change gears to the current political environment. So one thing is there were over 500 LGBTQ candidates on the tickets this year. I mean, that's huge. It's amazing that they are speaking up and they are advocating. And a record of them, did actually get elected to federal and state positions. And we were just wondering, how is True Colors looking to use this new administration to achieve some of their goals that might not have been possible in the last several years?
Yeah. So first of all, the point you made about the candidates, another, incredible year of LGBTQ people, stepping up and being willing to take the risks to run for office. And, to hear people like Sarah McBride, winning a state seat in Delaware, the highest first transgender person to win a state Senate level seat in this country. That's a really amazing, wonderful thing to see. And Sarah is an incredible person, and so happy that has happened, as well as the other members, LGBTQ community members who've made it into elected office. This, not gonna lie, the last 4 years have been extraordinarily difficult. Not just, certainly from an LGBTQ perspective, but also from a homelessness perspective. We have had to push back on a lot of harmful efforts, to the point where True Colors United is currently a co-plaintiff in suing the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for no longer enforcing non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ youth in runaway and homeless youth programs. Think about that. We have a current administration that believes it's okay, and that protections that are in place that are there should not actually be enforced. That is something that doesn't make the front news of the newspaper, because so many of these types of things have been occurring over the last 4 years. And to a point where True Colors United filed our first lawsuit ever in our 12-year history, when we could be spending our time and our resources moving forward better solutions to preventing and ending youth homelessness in America. We're having to spend our time pushing back on an administration that has, actively worked to harm LGBTQ youth experiencing homelessness. So when we look forward to, the next 4 years in the next administration, understanding the work that we were able to do under the Obama Biden administration for 8 years, and the progress that we were able to make, and begin to kind of really create real change in this country around youth homelessness and for the LGBT community. I am hopeful that this new administration will pick up where we were then, and really think about how are we going to end this, because we are now in the midst of the greatest economic recession, that I don't know if it's technically a recession anymore. I'm not an economist, but the most economically challenging time we've had since the Great Depression, and the risks of evictions and homelessness is in front of us, and so it's going to require us as a nation to come together and prevent homelessness from occurring in the first place. And when it does occur, that experience is rare, brief, and is one time, especially for young people. So we've got a lot of work to do. And I'm hopeful that this new administration will help make sure that work happens.
Yeah, it's incredible to me when a law took so much to get into place. I mean, I think we're specifically talking about the housing and urban development ruling about discrimination. Mm-hmm. And it just amazes me when it took so many years to actually get that law passed, and so many people sacrificed to make that happen, and then to reverse something like that, it just blows my mind to take steps backwards.
Yeah, so just so people understand, it's the equal access rule, which is it's actually not a law. It's a rule that was put into place under the Obama-Biden administration. The first one went into place in 2012, and that protected around sexual orientation and partially around gender identity. And then in 2015, 2016, an additional rule was passed that firmly protected transgender people and gender identity in the Equal Access Rule, just basically saying HUD-funded programs can't deny people services, shelters, and so forth, couldn't deny services based on sexual orientation, gender identity. So the current administration has been working to change specifically the rule around gender identity, so that programs could define for themselves what gender identity means, which basically removes that protection and keeps transgender people from being able to access HUD-funded shelters, which transgender people are one of the most at-risk populations who have the greatest amount of barriers in front of them to be overcoming homelessness. So to allow any sort of discrimination to occur for the most vulnerable, the most impacted, is really a travesty and unacceptable. So True Colors United has been working really hard to push back on that. That change hasn't occurred yet. Finally, there's all this stuff that has to happen, and before that can happen. And one of those things is that there has to be an open comment period where the public can submit comments about this proposed change to the rule. And True Colors United co-led the effort, and we succeeded in getting over 66,000 comments submitted to HUD, to the federal government. And to be able to, before they can move forward in making that change, they have to answer all those 66,000 comments. So we're hopeful that we can keep this from happening in the first place. But again, another action that happens that doesn't get as much profile because there's so many bad things that have been happening under the current administration.
Yeah, and I appreciate you clarifying that. I knew you could say it much better than I could. And yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, 66,000, is that a number you were hoping for? Are you looking for?
It's the most that HUD, it's the most comments ever submitted to something like this from the Housing and Urban Development. So it was a significant achievement and really a testament to those 66,000 organizations and people who took the time to let their voice be heard. So, really, we're very fortunate to have those 66,000 people take the time.